Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to our Hour of Power this morning, and we are super excited to have beautiful Dr. Tamara Hunter there. Look at her gorgeous face, to share some of her wisdom. Now, I'm not going to do a big intro on Tamara because actually part of what we're going to talk about is her story, is who she is, who's the woman behind the name, and there's so many of you that would have heard her, heard of her beautiful wisdom and all the rest, but may not have had a chance to put a face to the name. So you get to do that this morning on our gorgeous Zoom call here. But Tamara's been, in this business from nearly the beginning here in Australia, and we're just so thrilled that she openly shares with her of her wisdom over the years. But she started right at the very beginning, so things have changed over the years, and we're just excited for her to share what it was like way back when, and why she, the journey she's had as a person, as a woman, as a mom, and all of that. So Tamara, first of all, thank you so much for getting up bright and early, 6 a.m. over in Western Australia team, for those of you who may not be sure where Tamara is actually based. And so she's up bright and early and looking fantastic. Even got a little bit of lip gloss on there, girl.
I did. I thought, I'm going on TV. I've got to put some lippy on.
So, yeah, looking really good. So, look, there's going to be a few on here that, don't know you and that. So can you tell us a little bit, starting right back when, can you set the scene for, what it was like for you and, you first heard about Juice Plus, and why did it make sense? Why did you get involved?
So I was 24, 23 to 24, which was 1998. So you can probably all do the maths there and figure out how old I am. But I'd done my degree as an exercise physiologist, and I'd moved to Sydney from little old Perth. And I was working in the corporate health industry, preaching to people about the importance of health and well-being and making healthy choices. And, I'd lived that life since I was 17 anyway. I taught aerobics well before when you used to wear your G-string on the outside of your leotard as opposed to inside. Well before Reebok even existed, I taught freestyle aerobics. So I'd always walked that path of prevention and making healthy choices. So it was natural for me to go into that industry. And I was working in corporate health at the time. I was also personal training. So I'd get up early in the morning. I'd meet my personal training client, take them for a run, do whatever I needed to do to make them or help them make healthy choices. Then I'd go to work and preach healthy choices during the day. And then I'd come home and I'd train another personal training client, and then, 9 o'clock at night, I'd go home to my lean cuisine meal for one and collapse into bed. And that was my life. And I was passionate about it, but I was kind of troubled by the fact that, two things really. I always had more month at the end of my money. I wasn't really surviving particularly well financially in Sydney. And this was a time when the wellness industry really hadn't taken hold yet. And I also had this dream of going back to medical school, and I sort of was just in a troubled place. And so I was preaching all about health and well-being, but I wasn't really practicing it myself. I wasn't really, taking the advice of sleeping well. I certainly really didn't know that much about what good nutrition was. I thought you just were on an eternal diet and that's how you did it. And I was looking fab and fit, but I wasn't really all that healthy. So I was working in this corporate facility, and my sponsor, Mark Dragon, came out, and the intention, I think, for them was to introduce Juice Plus to the corporate facility where I was working. And as the person who was the activities instructor, I was the person to meet. And so they sat down and they passed across this wad, I tell you, wad of photocopied information, testimonials and doctors' pictures with, profiles and, a couple of little single research papers. And they just passed it across the table for me. And on the top of that was an audio tape. That's how old I am. An audio tape was sitting on the top of that. And I said, here you go, have a listen to this, and we'll get back in touch with you and see what your boss thinks about putting Juice Plus into the gym. I said, yeah. Now at the time, that gym was an hour's drive from my place. So I'd drive an hour in the morning to the gym and then drive an hour home. And so I had a cassette tape, and so I thought, I'll just pop this in my audio player and listen to it all the way down Parramatta Road back to Coogee Beach. And it was Rick Du Bois, The Whole Truth. And it was a revelation, to say the least, to me, when I kind of understood the importance of prevention, and I understood the importance of nutrition, and I understood that it wasn't just about looking fab and fit and feeling fantastic. It was also about having a lifelong prevention of disease in place. And that was my clincher. That was my absolute clincher. And I went home and I went through every piece of that photocopied paper. I read testimonials on Mitra Ray. I read testimonials on, doctors who I don't even think are in this business anymore. I read the CTR, the current therapeutic research, published in 1996, from front to back. I was absolutely hooked because I thought, oh my God, here I've got this answer for me personally. This is something that I need to do because I'm not doing the right things, even though I'm preaching it. I can't 100% of my time put my hand on my heart and say I'm a purist. So here was something for me. And then when I talked to my personal training clients about it, it was an absolute no-brainer for them. Like, it was a simple concept that they all understood. They'd already had the education. They'd all been to school. They all did health ed. So they all knew the importance of a healthy diet and fruits and veggies. So it was really a no-brainer. So that was kind of my first introduction to the product. And I kind of signed up for the product and the business on pretty much the same day. I was kind of thinking, here is a possibility that I can marry this together with my personal training business and perhaps make a little bit of money on the side, just, to get me through the month, add to my repertoire of things that I could offer my clients as a personal trainer. But the real power of the business became apparent to me when I received in the mail at the age of 25 my letter to acceptance back into medical school. So I was 25 years of age. I didn't have a lot behind me. I had been accepted into the University of Sydney to go back to medical school. I still had to pay rent. I still had to, fund my everyday living. And I thought, how am I going to do that studying full time? And I came to this realisation that here was something that I could work around my studies. So on university holidays, I could work my business really hard. And when I was busy studying for exams and doing assignments and so on, it would just take a passenger seat. So it was that flexibility of the business. And not only that, I was linking in with a community that enabled me to maintain the philosophy that I really believed in, which was still about prevention. Yeah, I was going back to medical school and I can heal the world and all that, but I was always going to be about prevention. So I was, linking in with the likes of Steve Coulter and Mark Dragon, who were all about, prevention and follow the similar philosophy to myself. And so that was really my entrance into the business of Juice Plus. Nearly 18 years later, I'm still around.
Yeah, you are, definitely. And because that in itself is a testimony to, your journey, when it started. But we've just heard a little bit about the fact that even, you were ready to go back and study to become a doctor and, continue on further down the track, and you were still here. That. So I suppose you touched a little bit on why the business, and for you it was making sense from the point of view at that time that it would help to put bread on the table while you were the struggling student, and that. But why still? You're a very, very successful, highly credentialed, doctor, and we're talking 18 years down the track. Why I can understand why you're definitely still taking the product because that it speaks for itself. But why are you still in the business?
Yeah. Look, I've often asked myself that question, and I'll be honest, Celine, there have been times where I've thought, I should just walk away from this. I really don't need this. And I think they were the times when my why was not clear. And if there's one piece of advice that I can hand on to people, that you've got to make sure your why is so clear that you can feel it, that you can taste it, that you can touch it, that you can see it. Because unless your why is really clear, when the bad times come, when the tough times come, you'll find other things that are more important. So that's, I guess that's one of my big learning. But why now? I think actually now, more than ever before, being a part of this business and community is so important for me. And then there's a couple of things that have happened more recently in my life. So I'll just give a little bit of a background picture. So I've done my medical training. I have completed a specialty as an obstetrician gynecologist. So for me, that was a 6-year specialist journey. And then on top of that, I am just about to complete my subspecialty training in reproductive endocrinology and fertility. So that was an additional 4 years on top of that. So I don't know, I've got this weird addiction.
Of study.
And the medical school before that. So I think I've got this weird addiction to it. But anyway, I have come to a point where I'm really happy with where I am as far as my passion in my career goes. I love women's health, and where I am, I'm super happy with. So, but behind all of that, there's been other stuff going on. So I found a bloke, and he's pretty cool. I've had 2 kids, and they're pretty cool. You know, we've had other stuff going on, and doing all of that stuff and doing medicine is actually really hard. And it was never more apparent to me than last year when I took 10 weeks off when I had Daisy, my second baby. I took 10 weeks off, and at that time I was in private practice already. And for anyone who owns their own small business, they would know that if you're not working in your business, it's not going to work. You've got, your business owns you. You don't own your business. I thought owning small business was the bee's knees, the duck's nuts. I was no longer answerable to another boss. You know, I didn't have other people telling me what to do. I could set my own rules and regulations. I could see whatever patients I wanted whenever I wanted. But unless I was working in it, it wasn't working. So I took 10 weeks out after I had Daisy. And my income, which was pretty good, dropped to zero, nothing. And I was still paying rent, and I was still paying off all my equipment, and I was still paying all of my staff, but I was bringing nothing in because I'd taken time out. Because you don't pay yourself sick leave or maternity leave when you're in small business. No. So, and the lovely thing about that 10 weeks is that I still had 2 Juice Plus checks come in that time. So that was enough to sustain us. And I just thought, oh my God, I'd never actually thought about the importance of that, having that. I always knew, I always talk to people about the importance of residual income, but that was a really powerful aha moment for me, was when I realised that was there to support us. Yeah. The second moment really recently in the last 12 months, well, just over 12 months, is that my partner Mike owned his own company, which he sold to another company, and they re-employed him as their senior sales manager. And he hated it because he was working for someone else. He was following someone else's rules and working the hours that they dictated, and he had no creative license whatsoever. So it was really getting him down. And so in December of last year, we made the decision that he could walk away from work and pursue his passions, which is property development, which he's doing now. But we could do that because we had not only my medical income, but also the Juice Plus check coming in. So it's really nice that now, at this point in our lives, we are both pursuing our passions. He's just loving life. We also have the opportunity for him to stay home with Daisy as well, which is fantastic. Whereas Soph, she had a nanny and daycare and all of that, he was able to stay home and pursue his passions in property development. And so we've got this really fantastic life, and I've got to attribute that to Juice Plus. And, I've got to really attribute the fact that I was able to complete my dream, go to medical school, because of Juice Plus, because of the income that came in there. So I will never walk away from this business. And I think the final thing is that, and this is something my mum, Bronwyn, often talks about, is the incredible joy that you get out of helping women become financially independent. And that's nothing against blokes, love blokes, but I feel really passionate about this incredible juggle that women have in their lives, this desire to be a mum, but a desire to contribute more to the community and to have an identity beyond being just a mum. So many women that I come across, my friends, my colleagues in medicine, struggle with this every single day about this desire, and we live with this guilt of not necessarily doing any of those jobs particularly well because we're trying to do them all. And I really feel passionate about the fact that this Juice Plus business offers women that opportunity to perhaps bring down that guilt a little bit and perhaps do a job that they can work around their families. And as a result of that, I feel really proud of the fact that I've helped dozens and dozens of women to be able to achieve that balance. And so again, that's another really heartfelt reason that I do this.
And I think too, and I just want to acknowledge you, Tamara, because it's not dozens, darling, it's thousands, because you had the courage to actually say yes. Back then, and for whatever reasons, it wasn't that time in that moment, they might have been, selfish. Oh, I want this product and I need to pay the rent and that. But the fact that you actually didn't have a bad day, or didn't walk away when let's face it, you're a qualified doctor, and, for that in itself would have been enough for a lot of people. There are thousands of people and women that have actually been impacted because you made a decision. So, it's awesome. Well done. Thank you. Because, for those of you who may not be aware, so Tamara sponsored Bron, who's her mum, and that. So Bron, who is amazing national marketing director in her own right, and who does a lot of our calls, our report calls, because she's awesome at all of that as well. So there's, so this is the thing, the fact that you did have the courage. The other thing I want to come back to is, and for many of you that are on the call or listen to this afterwards, you may know people that you've got on your chicken list. They could be doctors, they could be, people that are in, different professions, and you feel like they've got it all because of the fact that they've got that, those letters after their name or that title or whatever. But at the end of the day, my experience has been is that we're all just humans. We're all just, we're all just mums or women or dads or whatever who actually do want to be able to have choices. We do want to be able to, I suppose, have the choice to have, be there working from home, having our daughter sitting in our lap, and just being able to, to share. So what I would say to you is, take on board what Tamara's just said. Juice Plus has been able to, I suppose, be that icing on the cake that has given herself and Mike some awesome choices over the last, few years to be able to, do life maybe just a little bit differently than what it might have been. And I know that I've had some conversations with some people over the last probably 6 months where a couple of women that pop into my mind straight away, where if it had not been for Juice Plus, it would have been the most stressful part of their lives, because whether it was, things going on in their families, illnesses, breakups, things like that, the thing was that they didn't have to worry about money because they knew that check was coming in, even though they needed to kind of step back from their business just a little and not be going to work every single day. So it's those kinds of things that I think that we need to remember. It's those choices. Tamara, looking back over this journey, if you had to, I suppose, give your former self some advice, what would it be?
I guess doing this for 18 years, you slap yourself around quite a bit. There's quite a few times when I've sort of said, you really should learn from that. I think probably the big one for me is, I think there were times when I was just in my own way. I got in my own way. I was way too cool for this. And I think that comes of maybe not having belief in some aspect of the business. So I don't think I was ever in a position where I didn't have belief in the product. That has been 100% rock solid for me. There were times when I lost faith in the business. There were times when I definitely didn't have faith in the industry. And there have been plenty of times when I have not had faith in myself and my ability to do this. And so a lot of the times I kind of waxed and waned about moving forward, just simply because I couldn't get out of my own way. I couldn't see clear of the problems that I was having, and I didn't know how to find the solution. And I think it's been in the last few years that when I've had those moments come up, I've gone, which of the 4 aspects is it that's not sitting right with me? And I've then had to go and do a little bit more work on that. So, it might be reading a book about the industry, or it might be doing a little bit of work on self. Less so, as I said, less so the company and the product. I'm very rock solid about those, but the others I've struggled with over the time. So that's one lesson is, when you're having trouble, you got to try and put your finger on what it is and then go and do a little bit more work on that area. So that's the first thing. The other thing I think is it's okay not to do things perfectly. My whole being is about doing things perfectly. I've had to do everything perfectly. And I think, again, it comes back to I had so much need to know everything about the product and everything about that. Often that would just stop me moving forward. And then I'd feel the need to go and educate everybody on all of those things, whereas that really wasn't necessarily what was required. I remember Danny saying to me, you'll need to know you'll know the things you need to know when you need to know them.
Yes.
And it used to frustrate the crap out of me because I'm like, no, I want to know it all now. But I get now that it really is a step-by-step process. And the less you complicate that and the more that you just follow the system, the more chance it will work for you in a lot more efficient way.
Yeah.
I was always really scared of the no's. I was always really scared of being rejected for the product and the business. I don't really care now,
yes.
which is good. So I love that whole go for no concept that you talk about. I think that's really valuable. And certainly in the last few years, I've become a lot more resilient for the no's. And in fact, I enjoy the conversation that results from the no, because I'll always ask why. Oh, okay. Why do you think that? And so it's really nice to actually have that conversation, whereas perhaps as a 23-year-old, I just wasn't empowered enough to be able to do that. And the other thing that I have learned, which is a lesson I'm not really all that proud of, but is a really good one, is I always thought that once you reach NMD, like that was it. That was the pinnacle. I'm at the top now. I can sit back and watch everyone else do the work. But that's actually not the case. And it's actually the younger NMDs coming through who've taught me the lesson that really that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
That's when, you've reached a point in leadership where you now have the opportunity to impart and it is your obligation to impart. And that's probably a lesson I've learned, just a life lesson really, that the sum total of success in this business beyond national marketing director is in direct proportion to your efforts. You can't really sit back and have a holiday with this. It's something that you'll always do. You might not have to work with the same intensity that you worked in the first few weeks of the business, but you'll always have to work this business if you want success to come of it. And whether that be financial success, emotional revenue, whatever it is, it's all about the proportionate amount of work that you put in. And, I think I'm working probably harder at this now and with much greater joy and purpose than I ever have. And I think that's because of those lessons that I've learned.
Yeah, and you can see that in you as well, and with what you're doing and having fun about it. I've just enjoyed watching your journey the years that we've known one another, and that which is only 6 years now, and that just watching that journey of you, of course, growing in the business as well, but becoming a mum and all of that actually has added to it. I think the words that you've just said there too it's really important for people to know. NMD is a stepping stone. It's fantastic because it gives certain, I suppose, joy. There's the results there's recognition, there's certain things that you kind of become entitled to, I suppose, when you reach there. But it is just the beginning. It's the beginning to what this business can truly be for you, and that's the thing. What I love about, I suppose, and I think where the power comes, and I think this is what you were alluding to a little bit too, Tamara, is that there actually comes to a stage. I love getting people to that NMD stage because from there's even more joy because you actually kind of get it. Whatever you've done to get you to there is the same thing that you will do. It's It's wash, rinse, repeat. You know, for those that I've spoken to on the Eagles calls and things like that, we talk about the magic building block is that sales coordinator. And, you know, you do that yourself and then you teach others to do the same, and you've got the formula for qualifying national marketing director, for national marketing director. And you actually got the formula for 100 Club and beyond. So I can't remember who said it many years ago. I heard somebody say that you actually retire into your business. We don't ever retire away from our business. We retire into our business, because what happens is, national marketing director and beyond, is that you actually do what you do just because it becomes second nature to you. You can't help yourself have a conversation if you're out and about and you see somebody that would benefit for a product or business. It's nearly like you go into, well, I know for myself, it's like an out-of-body experience sometimes. People, you know, I find myself saying things and I'm going, oh gosh, I wasn't going to do any conversations today. And you just can't help yourself because you want to share, because you know what this product and business can do. And that's what I love about it. We actually kind of retire into it. It just becomes part of who we are. I couldn't ever imagine not being involved in this industry, not being involved in this company, no matter what. I was having a conversation at church last weekend, and somebody had asked my pastor, the lady pastor, Sharon, and we were having a bit of a laugh about it afterwards, because an older lady said, oh, when are you going to retire, dear? And, you know, she's like me. We can't ever imagine ourselves retiring. And it's like, I'm going to be doing what we do, getting to share our product and business till I'm literally kind of, sliding to the grave going, woohoo, what a ride. And that's the thing. If you're waiting to arrive, get over it now. Because there's not an end. There's not a finish line where you just kind of go, oh, I've arrived. I'm here now. And I think that's the beautiful thing of what we get to see with Tamara. She started off with this young 23, 24-year-old, and now down the track, look at her beautiful daughter sitting there sharing with us as well this morning. Hi, Sophie.
Soph wanted to say something. Say hello to Sophie.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Sophie takes her juice plus every day.
Sophie, good work.
Yeah.
This is what it's about, guys, because this is how we get to do life. And as the kids get older, like mine, for those who've met, like our 19, 20, nearly 23 and 24, and we get to do life at conferences and just having fun and that together. And that's the awesome thing about it. So I love, Tamara, watching your journey. I've loved that you have stayed the course when there are days when it would have been easier to walk away. Totally get that. Especially during those 10 plus years of study. You would have been wondering, why am I doing this? I suppose I couldn't let you go without asking, your opinion, I suppose, and I know what the answer is going to be, but for those who are new on the phone and that as well, sometimes for some of them, their product belief may not be a 10 out of 10 as yet. They might be getting that pushback. They might be getting those no's and having those little doubts, because as we know, good nutrition sometimes can't be seen, like the benefits can't be seen straight away. We know what's going on inside our bodies, but, there are times when it's kind of like the doubt creeps in. I suppose as somebody who's been on the product for 18 years, for somebody who has the qualifications that you do, and that, why Juice Plus? Why would you recommend to the women that come to see a doctor, to the mums that you meet down at childcare or at kindy or whatever like that? Why is it that you recommend this product?
There's a lot of reasons. I hope I don't forget them all, but I think it's a market leader. So, it's been around 23, 25 plus years. So there's nothing been around as long as that. So it's had a certain tried and tested history. We all know the extremely vigorous assessment that goes through producing the Juice Plus products, but it's also had that 25 odd years of testing, which a lot of products kind of don't have that level of research and development before they appear on the market. It's a simple concept. There are lots of other whole food supplements out there now as a result of Juice Plus. So it's definitely a concept that is very attractive. But I feel strongly that, if you're going to bother, taking a whole food supplement, you want to take the market leader. You know, you want to take your Mercedes-Benz as opposed to your Toyota. I drive a Toyota, but but you want to get your top quality product into you. And we know that this is top quality because we have well over 30 studies now. I can't tell you the importance of that research. The testimonials that people tell and the stories that people tell are really important because they're your hook. That's what gets people in. But what gives you longevity, what gives you validity, what gives you credibility is the research and the thousands and thousands of research scientists behind the product. So that's really, really important. It's a simple concept. It's a no-brainer. It's so easy for me to talk to people about it because it's like, oh yeah, I definitely don't get my fruits and veggies. There is nothing on the market that has the level of research, nor will there ever be, because Juice Plus is ahead of the game. We're publishing studies every single year. No one will ever catch up. They may produce studies, but they'll never have the volume, the depth and the breadth of research that we have. And as I said, the product itself has been tested and proven for well over 20, 25 years now. So they're probably the reasons why I'm rock solid with this. You know, being in the wellness industry as the wellness industry has evolved, I've seen lots of stuff evolve. Like I've seen products come and go. I've seen products kind of languish on the market and then kind of peter out into nothing. This has never been that way with this product. This has always been a market leader. It's always been an innovative product. And so I think it will stand the test of time. And that's my why for this product. There's lots of other really important aspects of health and lots of other important aspects of nutrition. But when it comes to the power of fruits and vegetables, this is second to none.
There you go. You heard it here. And that's it. And I think, look, I agree with you. Having been able to visit NAI this year, past month, just see how they put it together and just get to witness the care, the diligence, just, you know, that they use in that. Hearing them talk about, like you say, we have, even if we were to stop now, people wouldn't catch up with us for decades to come. And yet we're not stopping. You know, there's another 5 in the works at the moment, and we're super excited about what's coming out over the, you know, the next year or so. So we're a company that does that is what I do love about it, and that. So it's awesome. Carly, I'm going to ask you just to mute yourself, darling. So yes, so it is fantastic. That's awesome. I love, Tamara, that, you know, you as with all of your experience and that can share from your heart that this is, you know, why you do what you do and why you share our product all of the time. Any last bits of wisdom that you would like to share before we sign off? Just do it. Get out of your own way. Just do it. Like, you know, don't listen to the voices. Just go out and do it. It's really that simple. Yeah, no, awesome. Well, I'm going to unmute everyone because I would love you all to, you know, to give Tamara a great big thank you for sharing, getting up so bright and early, and Matt and Sophie as well for joining us too. And yeah, let's give her a huge big thanks. I'm going to unmute everybody. Say hello. Thank you, Tamara. Bye. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Look at all those lovely faces, and that is awesome. Heaps on there. Tamara, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you and your wisdom, and we're so grateful that you are on our team and that you are here and you're here to stay. And and we love that we get to do live with you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Pleasure. You're really going to be clean. Woo! Awesome.